and we've had many adventures in this boat,
Mhm.
uh,
I can imagine.
including piracy, attempted piracy while
What?
we were sailing,
No way.
bad weather, etc.
Oh
So
my God.
yeah, there have been a number of things.
So that's a real
That's
thing. Like
real.
piracy.
Wow.
Our episode was we were sailing off of Venezuela,
Hmm.
about 120 miles offshore. We were sailing from Saint Lucia to Panama to visit some friends.
Nice.
And it was Christmas Eve at 4:30, and it was my wife and myself, and we had picked up a young woman who actually happened to be on the British Olympic team,
Wow.
who had just sailed across the Atlantic Ocean, and she had a job in the Caribbean that fell through.
Wow.
And so she was sort of without a boat and needed, wasn't quite sure what to do. So we said, well, would you like to join us on our way to Panama?
You're right.
So she joined us. And so it's just the three of us on board. And she was on watch, and a panga appeared with four individuals who claimed they had engine trouble and were out in the ocean for 4 days.
That was a small, so it's a smaller boat that came next to you guys.
Right.
Mm.
Typical Caribbean panga with the 70 horsepower
Yeah.
Yamaha Ford
Okay,
engine.
okay. Like them little boats where they fishing sometimes.
Yes,
The little fishing
exactly.
boat. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
That kind of boat was 120 miles offshore. And they attempted to board our boat while we were sailing in 6-foot seas.
Wow.
And they smashed into our boat a couple times, and actually took off 6 feet of the tow rail, the cap rail of
What?
our boat when they surfed down a wave and bounced off our boat. And they bounced off a couple other times. And I started yelling at them to knock it off, and they did.
Oh, good. You did a good job.
So they had a list of demands. They wanted to tow back to Saint Lucia, which was about
Wow.
150 miles away.
Wow.
They wanted gasoline, food, water, etc. And after the rather rude introduction of them damaging our boat
Hmm.
and trying to board without permission,
Right.
we weren't in an overly generous mood. Um, but we were able to provide them with some food and water,
Okay.
at which point they stopped following us
Oh, okay.
as we were sailing to Bonaire on our way to Panama at the time.
Wow.
And I think they were smugglers of some kind,
Possibly, yeah.
probably drug runners.
Hmm.
A lot of drugs get moved through Venezuela now.
The channel. Yeah, yeah.
Uh, yeah. They could have been arms dealers or something like that
Okay.
also.
Right. They
I'm
didn't threaten
assuming
you
they
guys with
missed
any
their,
weapons at the time.
we didn't see any.
Okay.
Um, they could have been armed,
Yeah, yeah. It's highly
you
possible.
know.
Highly
They
possible.
certainly did
To
not
be
have
so
any fishing
brazen,
equipment in their boat.
to ram into your boat. I mean, it would be highly possible that they might be armed. You know.
Correct. Right. So when I yelled at them, they could have pulled guns on me, if they had them.
Right.
Um, uh, they didn't, and they were satisfied with the provisions that we gave them. But frankly, we don't know if they ever made it back to shore. Um, they were without a compass also,
Wow.
so they had difficulty knowing which direction to go.
Oh my God.
And I didn't have a spare compass to lend them,
Right.
but the sun rises in the east, so that's the direction you need to head. unfortunately, that was against the wind and waves.
Oh,
So to go that distance in a
with that little-
panga
with that fishing boat,
with limited fuel
gasoline. Yep.
um, was a question.
Yeah.
And we tried to check with the online, check the newspapers from Saint
see.
Lucia to see if there were
Any
4
missing-
people reported
right.
missing
Mm,
and if they had ever made it back. And we were never able to gather any information.
wow.
So
That's
we don't know what happened to them.
Wow.
that is something else.
I mean, it's sort of a rule where people at sea help each other
Right. Normally, yeah.
because things happen.
Yeah.
You know, engine trouble,
Yeah.
leaks. We know a number of people. We know people who have sunk. Their boat has sunk and needed to be rescued
Mhm.
at sea. So it's just you know, it's a pact amongst boaters that we help each other and look out for each other. On the other hand, when people are trying to do you harm or potential harm,
Mm,
it becomes a different thing, obviously.
sure, for sure.
Mhm.
It's self-preservation first.
Correct. Correct.